Hi, so many teenagers struggle with one simple but powerful word. No. Not because they don't want to say it, but it's just because they feel guilty saying it. I did an interview with a few teenagers and asked them on a scale of 1 to 5, how much guilt they feel when they say no. And many of them had 1 or 2, being that they do feel very guilty compared to that they don't feel guilty. And so I was then thinking in my mind that, okay, if this is the case, why is this the case? Because teenagers need to know the power of saying no. Teenagers need to know that it helps them with their boundaries. It helps them with decisions and choices that they make. Why don't teenagers, or why are many teenagers struggling to say no? Why do they feel very guilty saying no? I was one of those teenagers who felt guilty saying no when I was growing up. I think a lot of times this guilt could stem from growing up with authoritarian parenting styles where saying no was looked as being defiant, saying no was looked as that being disrespectful. Those are some of the reasons why teenagers may struggle to say no. In my case, it was that fear of rejection. I lost my dad when I was 5. I interpreted it as that he left us. So I did kind of grow up with a root of rejection. And so for me, saying no meant, oh, I don't want to displease somebody, because that means they're gonna go, they're gonna leave. So that was my own understanding. I mean, I've only figured this out much when I was an adult. I didn't know that as a teenager. But a lot of the teenagers that I speak to, it comes from the authoritarian style of parenting. And a lot of times when I say these things, this is not to pass judgment on parents, not at all. This is more for us, it's more of a wake-up call for parents to see that our children need to learn how to say no. And that's why I've titled this How to Say a Respectful No. The power of a respectful no. Because we want to teach our young people how to say no, but also how to say it in a respectful way. Because if your child comes to you and says, no, mom, I'm not going to do this and I don't care what you think. Oh no, that's big disrespectful. No, we don't want that. We want our teenagers, our children to say, you know what, mom, I don't want to do it, and this is why I don't want to do it, or I don't want to do it, I prefer to do it this way. That we want to teach them how to do that, because when you get to teach them, when they learn it, when they practice the skill of saying a respectful no, then they're less likely to fall into the traps of negative peer pressure in school and outside. And this is the reason we want to start to help our children build that skill. Now, for young people who haven't built that skill and now gone to university, the thing about university is going to be their first time of being exposed to total independence. You're not there 24/7. So there's not going to be that fear or that, oh, mom is around, dad is around. It's not going to be that in university. And so the likelihood to fall into traps, to make choices that they regret, that's very, very high if when they haven't built the skill to say no. And so that's why I think that this topic is so, so vital, so vital, so vital to all of us. Very vital. So I think one of the things that I want to share, apart from the reason why, it feels very foreign to many young people, culture, parents, elders, all that kind of stuff. What then happens, our children would do people pleasing, like what I did when I was a teenager. But there's a healthy balance, teaching them how to, you know, say it in a respectful way. And it starts with practicing. How can we practice it? Let me give you some examples, which I've written out. I said, parents, we can actually give our children safe opportunities to practice saying no at home. Let me give you some examples. Start small. Let them say no to more food without guilt. Yeah. Let them say no to more food without guilt. Give them choices and allow them to say no to both. So just give them choices. Okay, do you want this, this, this? Let they say, oh no, I don't want this. No, I don't want that. That's practicing to say no. And let them respectfully opt out of any activity, of some activities. Allow them to say no, but let them have the no. It's important to teach them that, okay, even if you say no, what's the reason? Back it up with some reason. Negotiate, especially as they become teenagers. Let's negotiate. If you're saying no, what are you saying no to? and model it yourself. You can say, no, I don't want to talk to you right now. I don't want to speak right now. I'll be ready in 15 minutes. I'll be ready in 10 minutes. I'm busy doing this, but I'm definitely coming to you in 10 minutes. You've also modeled how to say no in a respectful way, not saying, no, stop disturbing me. No, get out of here. No, go to your room. No, that's a disrespectful way of saying no. Model the respectful way of saying no so that our children can learn how to be comfortable saying no. It really, really matters. It really, really matters. I've said it here that in universities, there's going to be freedom, parties, alcohol, relationships, pressure, deadlines, all those kind of things are going to come your children's way. And if your children have not learned the skill of saying no at home, then they're not just going to suddenly develop it in school. There's going to be a few mistakes along the line before they get to develop it. So it's important that we teach our children how to say no in respectful ways. And if you haven't done that before your kids have gone to uni, you can have a phone call with them and just share with them just some tips on saying no in a respectful way. There's no harm in saying that, in teaching that. Okay. No harm at all. Good, 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 good. Okay. I think that's really what I wanted to share on that. And we have an opportunity for our children who are not yet in university. We have an opportunity to teach them how to say no and practice it and role play it. And yes, they're going to make mistakes. Correct the mistakes and keep on going. But don't now punish them for those mistakes that they make, because this is a skill that you're teaching them how to learn. It's not like it's not it's not, I don't want to say it's not a rule, but it's a skill you're teaching them. And when you look at it as a skill that you're teaching them, then you're more patient with them even when they make mistakes. But teaching our children how to say a respectful no is very, very vital. I trust this helps. Take care.